Good morning guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you're new here, my name is Lisa and I'm a freelancer in Cornwall, and if you're not new here, then welcome back to the channel. We've got a big mug of tea for a big juicy catch up. It has been a weekend here in Cornwall and I feel like you and I need to catch up on what's gone on. We had a really big storm. This was another level. We really got battered to say the least. So there were winds of, I think, up to 123 miles per hour. It was mental. So we had a whole red weather warning for Cornwall and South Devon on Thursday night. So we were told absolutely no traveling. It's a danger to life situation. It's like really, really serious. It was Thursday evening. I was home here. I finished work about 6 o'clock and my parents were texting me, wow, it's really windy here. We are battening down the hatches. It's not safe to go outside. It's coming your way. They live about an hour and 15 minutes south of Newquay. So they got hit first and they were texting me saying, you know, it's wild. I opened my window when they said that and was like, there's not a single breeze. Like my dehumidifier that was on in the other room was emitting more breeze than there was outside. 5 minutes later, I heard the most terrifying whistle of wind. From then on, it was really scary, I'm not gonna lie. I've never heard wind like that. It was howling outside. You could just hear things were like crashing about outside. I had a little peek, but it was dark, so it's really hard to see. But you could see the trees were like just swishing around, and I thought, oh my God, this is actually quite bad. This is serious. I won't lie, it was a bit nerve-wracking as well, given that I live alone, and I felt like this is actually quite creepy. I don't really like this very much. I kind of just made myself a tea, put a film on, and was just like, okay, let's just ignore what's going on out there. Like, there's nothing I can do to change the weather outside. My friend rang me about 7 p.m. and was like, hey, I'm just checking in that you're okay, because they're 3 minutes down the road from me and they live right on the beach, and they could see power cables were sparking, they could see trees falling down, and they were like, yeah, we just want to check in on you. And they were like, you know, make sure you prepare for a power cut. And I was like, oh, really? I didn't even think that would be a thing. So anyway, I boiled my kettle, and then the minute it finished boiling, the power went. So there was a complete power cut and I was in total darkness. All the lights have gone. I was so thankful that my friend had messaged me and said, boil your kettle, because that meant I could actually have some hot water just in case. So I filled a flask and my hot water bottle. Luckily I found my head torch, and then to be honest, I just thought, well, it's at 8 o'clock now. I am literally just gonna get into bed, do a bit of reading with my head torch. I was messaging friends and family to check on them, but at that point my Wi-Fi had cut out. So I went to sleep probably about 10 p.m. I woke up the next morning to no power still, which is crazy. So the power was out all night. It came back about 8:30 in the morning. So it was shortly after I woke up that the power came back. And thankfully, my power stayed on. But that was kind of the end of the storm journey for me personally. But my poor parents down in the Lizard Village, they only got their power back last night. So that means they went 3 whole days without any hot water, without any electricity. And on Sunday, their water supply actually cut out as well. Because they live in such a rural area, the trees that had fallen down in the night, and there were so many trees that had fallen down across the county, were blocking the roads, so people couldn't really get in and out. Couldn't even get in touch with them because they live so rural that they do rely on the power lines for 4G and for Wi-Fi. Luckily they had a car, and when the trees started to be moved, they were able to get to the nearest supermarket, and then they could get 4G as well, and they could kind of like get in touch. But it was just crazy times really. So it's been a wild weekend, and I feel like my nerves are a bit shot, if I'm honest. It's one of those things where you're just going about your normal life and then something happens that snaps you out of it, and I just find those kind of things quite adrenaline inducing. I think that's probably quite a normal reaction. But yeah, the next day I was just consumed with consuming the content around the storm. I wanted to see what had happened in different areas. I wanted to check in on my friends, and I just found myself being absolutely glued to my phone all weekend, which is never a good thing. This week I really need to have a bit of a detox. So I decided to try and set myself a little challenge this week, but I feel like I really need some accountability, which is why I've picked up the camera, because even though you guys can't really speak to me in real time, I do feel in some sense that by picking up the camera and documenting my week, that I've got someone keeping me accountable to the things that I say I'm going to do. So this week, the goal is to cut down my screen time. My screen time is quite embarrassing, quite frankly. I am a social media manager, I'm a freelancer, I run my own business and it's all online. So there is an element of screen time that I cannot get away from. What I'm really concerned about is the hours I'm racking up, particularly on Instagram. I spend an unhealthy amount of time on that app. And I have worked out that whilst I do need to be on the app for my clients, arguably all I'm really doing on the actual Instagram app is scheduling posts. And then there's the daily kind of checking and replying to comments, but that cannot be more than 30 minutes a day. So tell me why I am spending on average 14 hours a week on Instagram. But I've just worked out that at an absolute push, we are spending 3 hours a week on Instagram doing actual work, stuff that I'm paid to do on the app. Where are these other 10 hours coming from? I'll tell you where they're coming from. My mindless doom scrolling. 14 hours a week, that's sickening stats. That's a whole waking day spent on Instagram. That's not okay. So that is what we're gonna try and do this week. We are gonna try and replace our scrolling time with something else, whether it's something productive, whether it's something for my fitness, or whether it's just something else that brings me joy. Thank you again for clicking on this video, and thank you for keeping me accountable for my little challenge. Hi guys, it's actually the next day. Now, I'm not gonna lie, yesterday was the most Monday that ever Mondayed. And I ended up just not being able to pick up the camera again yesterday, which I'm a little bit annoyed about. Sometimes the day just flops and you have to just admit defeat and start again afresh. I ended up working yesterday from home all day. Annoyingly, my boiler started playing up at the weekend and it was still having issues. So they ended up sending like an engineer around, but they didn't tell me he was going to be turning up or even give me a time, which I'm super grateful he did arrive, but it would have been nice to have a heads up because I had a bit of a situation where I was on a call with a client and I had to let the boiler guy in, and then I was trying to like talk to the boiler man, but then also I had the client on the call. Oh God, it was just a bit of a hot mess. And then it got to about 5:30 and I thought, great, I'll finish up for the day. Like I've done everything that I need to do. And I realised that I'd forgotten to take anything out the freezer for dinner. My fridge was bare. So I ended up just driving to Co-op, super lazy, grabbed a pizza, whacked it in the oven. And then I did stick to my guns with the whole screen time thing and not going on social media. I ended up watching an episode of Brian Cox's Universe on the BBC, which I really have always wanted to watch, but I'm terrible at sitting down and like concentrating on something. I also this year kind of want to push myself and watch more educational stuff and like learn a bit more about the world. And this documentary was so good. There's 3 more episodes. I'm already really looking forward to watching them. But yeah, it was all about the solar system, the planets, how we came to be. And also it kind of gave me like a bit of not an existential crisis, but like a reality check that we think we're in control. We think we're in control on this planet, but really, we're not. Also, how crazy it is that there's probably life out there on another planet and how many different planets there actually are. I didn't really realise the extent of what's out there because I feel like when you're in school you kind of learn about our solar system and all the planets and stuff and how it works, and I find these things fascinating and I want to watch more stuff like that. So yeah, I treated myself to watching an episode of that, but I put my phone in the other room, no scrolling occurred. And then I just had an everything shower, washed my hair, had them moisturised, you know, just to like kind of feel like a bit of a reset. And then I just went to bed and read my book, which was very enjoyable. What I'm going to do this afternoon is go to do some working from a cafe because I need to get out of this house. And then this evening I really need to go and do a food shop because my cupboards are bare. And then I think what I might try and do is do some baking as my kind of like screen-free activity for the evening. I think I'm going to find a recipe to do this evening and yeah, do some nice baking. And that is going to be the rest of the day. So yeah, sorry for the slightly chaotic start to this vlog. Hopefully we'll have a bit more of a productive day today and I'll actually pick up the camera. That would be helpful. Just had a delivery from Field Vitamins, so I thought I'd show you guys while we're here. I've actually been a customer of theirs for coming up for 2 years now, I think, but they're basically vitamins that come to your door through a subscription service. I just go for the multivitamin here. They have so many ingredients in here, including vitamin D, which is something that I always have to take in the winter because I just wilt and die in the winter. So yeah, they've got, I think, 32 ingredients in here, just packed full of all the good stuff. Now, I do find it difficult with vitamins because I don't know if I'm paying for marketing, if it's a placebo effect, or if they genuinely work, because it's one of those products that it's really hard to measure if vitamins work or not, but also it's kind of like the long game. It's a bit like skincare. I feel like using certain skincare, how do you know if it's making an effect if you don't know what your skin's going to look like if you didn't do it? Do you know what I mean? But it's just something that I do like to take. Also, I'm not affiliated with them at all. I'm literally just sharing what I spend my money on in terms of vitamins, because I know there's a lot out there and I always get quite bamboozled with people's opinions on vitamins. And I always think, you know what? Each their own, but let's be honest, we don't really know. We don't really know. It's 20 to 3 now and I'm just heading to SeaSpace. I'm not gonna lie. I really couldn't be bothered, but then I thought, you know what? I'm going to feel better if I get outside. I've actually had a really productive couple of hours, and I think partly I didn't want to break the flow that I was in, but also I could feel myself starting to get tired, and I think just change of scene will do me a world of good. This is my first visit to SeaSpace in 2026. Very exciting. I'm sure it will be the first of many. If you've been here since the start on this YouTube channel, you will know this place is my second home and I love it so much. It's the best place to work remotely from Newquay, in my opinion. Although I would like to try some new spots in 2026. So if you happen to be local and you know Newquay well and you have any good recommendations for spots where freelancers can have a coffee and do a little bit of work with a decent amount of Wi-Fi, then pop it in the comments below and help a girl out. That would be wonderful. I am going to do just like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours work here, and then I'm going to head to the supermarket on my way home to get some bits for the baking later. Just pulling up now to SeaSpace. I am back home now and I managed to pick up this baking loaf tin from Morrison's. I was going to say Sainsbury's then. It was from Morrison's. I wanted like a round cake tin, but this is all they had. And if you know me and you have been watching this channel for a while, you know that every time I bake, there is something that I don't have that I need. And today it was the tin. So I've made sure I've bought something to bake this cake in. But the cake I'm making is an apple cake. It's really simple, but basically I bought loads of apples. You can see them in my fruit bowl there. I bought loads of apples last week because I just stocked up on some supplies for my parents just in case they needed stuff while their power was out from the storm, and I didn't really know what to get them, so I got them loads of stuff that they could eat that wasn't didn't need to be heated up. But my mum loves apples, so I picked up a bag of apples for her. But by the time she managed to get back in touch with me, she was like, don't worry, we've actually just been to a shop, we're like totally fine. So now I'm stuck with the apples, and I do like apples, but I'll be honest, I'm not a big fruit lover. Like, you really have to force some fruit down my neck to get me to eat it. I love vegetables, but yeah, fruit, not so good at eating. So I thought, at least if I put these in a cake, then I'm going to eat them and they're not going to go to waste. I did think I was going to make apple crumble, but I actually asked ChatGPT. I was like, I've got 6 apples and I've got basic baking ingredients and I'm pretty much a beginner at baking. Like, tell me what I can make. And they gave me a few suggestions, but one of them was like just a simple apple cake. I think it's made with like flour, egg, oil, apples, cinnamon, and then you just whack it in the oven for 40 minutes. So I thought that sounds nice and easy and quite a nice thing to have in the evening with like a cup of tea. So yes, let's go and make this apple cake. Oh my god, guys, I just opened the oven to check on the cake and the waft that came out of the oven. Oh my god, it smelled like heaven. Also, I thought we could do a little screen time check-in together because I'm not lying to you when I say that I am actually managing to stay off this device. So let's check in real time together what my screen time is looking like versus last week. Okay, screen time. We are 45% down from last week, which is great. And then let's have a look at the apps. So today I've spent 58 minutes on Instagram and then only 28 minutes on WhatsApp, which is pretty good. I'm not so concerned about the other apps, to be honest. It's mainly Instagram. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that. I'll check in with you guys again once I've got the cake out of the oven to do a little taste test. But oh my god, I'm so excited. Here she is, fresh out the oven. Not bad. For a first attempt, look at that steam. Guys, look at that. I'm not gonna lie, that looks pretty damn good. Okay, time for the taste test. Look at that though, honestly. It's fine. It looks worse than it is. Hang on a minute. It just landed there. It's totally fine. Honestly, I'm really not having the best day. God almighty. Right, let's try that again. Oh my god, that is so good. That is an apple I can get on board with. That's better than banana bread. I'm saying it. Apple bread, better than banana bread. I'll tell you what that needs. Is like a scoop of vanilla ice cream. This is what you can achieve if you don't scroll all night. Hi guys, it's just coming up for midday on Wednesday and I have just had to get out the house. I'll be honest, my anxiety today is quite high and I just feel a bit weird this week. I think you can kind of tell with this vlog that my brain is just a bit all over the place. I'm just not having the best of weeks. So yeah, I was sat at my laptop this morning, started work at 9. I had a meeting at 9:30, which was really quick, just like 20 minutes. And then I did a bit of work and got all of the kind of itty bitty jobs done. So I had like some emails to reply to and just some small amends on posts to work on. So I've done all of that. And then I was ready to just jump into the more meaty stuff. And I just was like, I need to get out of this house immediately. Like it felt like an urgent need. And I think I'm just not getting enough fresh air and sunshine. And that is so typical of winter because by the time you finish work, it's already dark. So I just thought, you know what, sod it. I am shutting the laptop lid. I've got no more calls today. I am taking myself out for a walk while it is bright and sunny and there's daylight. We can just do the rest of the stuff when I get back. I'm going to be way more productive as well after a walk because all of the stuff that I've got to do this afternoon is very creative and it's a new project that I need to get stuck into and do a lot of creative writing and coming up with ideas. And I just feel like in the mental state that I'm in right now, there is not going to be an amazing quality produced from myself until I have gone out for a walk and got some fresh air. So just hopped into the car, driven 5 minutes into Newquay, and I'm going to do a walk around Fistral and just get some sea air, plug in my headphones and maybe listen to a podcast or some music, and just kind of have an hour to myself before I reset for the afternoon. And hopefully that's going to help. I mean, I'll be honest, every time I feel like this, a walk always helps. So yeah, let's head out on this walk and hopefully be feeling in a better place when I get back. I feel 10 times better, as suspected. If I'm honest though, now I don't want to go home and do any work. The sea, the sun, the beach, a walk always helps with my mental health when I'm feeling a bit funny or just a bit anxious, and yeah, it always works. I'm heading home now, gonna have some lunch, and then I will finish up with the rest of the day. It's funny, isn't it, how we often forget that we have free will. And I know we all have our own responsibilities in life, whether that's family obligations or whether it's work and deadlines and stuff like that, but realistically, like, there are moments in the day that you can definitely carve out for yourself, even if it is just like 10 minutes. But I think sometimes we forget. Like, I have fallen into the trap this week of being like, ugh, here we go again, another week of same old, feels a bit like Groundhog Day. And obviously today is Wednesday, so it's the middle of the week, so I'm feeling like peak kind of with routine and stuff. I sometimes do forget that, like, whilst I do have routine, there's also freedom within that, especially as a freelancer. Let's be honest, I am very much someone who would just like cram my schedule full of stuff to do that's productive, and I'll just feel like a walk, taking an hour out for a walk, isn't very productive, but then the way it makes me feel is really, really important. So yeah, more of that in 2026 for sure. This kind of fits back into my word of the year, which is balance, and just finding a little bit more balance in my day. It's okay to take an hour out the day. No one is going to die, particularly with my job. No one is going to die if I am taking an hour out and they can't get hold of me for an hour. It's not the end of the world. Kind of done with winter at this point. I don't want to wish life away, but I really want to wish summer here. When you finish work, it's just dark. When you wake up, it's dark. Caitlin suggested that we go for a walk before work, so we met at 7:30, which was actual pitch black. Sunrise isn't until 8:15. We just went for a walk around the headland, and we didn't really get much for sunrise, which is kind of a shame, but it was still really pretty, and there was this really nice like atmospheric fog on the headlands, and the waves were looking really pretty. So yeah, I feel like I've got my steps in, got some fresh air, bright and early this morning, so I'm feeling a bit more alive and ready for the day. I've got quite a busy day today. I've got a call with a new client, which is exciting, to talk about a content shoot that we have booked. And then I need to do some prep work because tomorrow I am going to Devon to do a content shoot with one of my existing clients there. I'll try and bring you guys along to my content shoot tomorrow. But yeah, today, not much else going on. That was the highlight of the day, I would say, going for the walk, because we've got to get our head down and get on with some work. Look what arrived today, my new nail lamp. I've had one of these nail lamps for about 10 years, and long story short, when I mentioned earlier in the vlog about my boiler, it had a tiny leak, and it may or may not have leaked all over my nail lamp, my old one. I have had it for 10 years. It really was on its last legs anyway, so I kind of just thought there's no salvaging this. So I actually treated myself to a new nail lamp, because if you know me, you know that I don't really go and get my nails done, but I always have my nails done because I always do them myself, and I quite like doing it. It is a lot lighter and a lot more fancy than my old lamp. It doesn't have any buttons that you actually have to press to set it off. So you can see here it's got a little timer countdown. My other one did not have that. And then if I move my hand out, it turns off and then restarts again when I put my hand in. It's really, really cool. Okay, that's one hand done. Now I've just got to do the other hand. Nails are all done. I went for this cute little pink pastel colour because we have a content shoot tomorrow and it's Valentine's themed, so I thought a little pink is quite cute. But I'm so pleased that my nails are done now, because they've been bare for like a month and I've honestly felt a bit naked without nail polish on. I'm gonna head to bed now because I've got to be up bright early tomorrow for the content shoot, so I will catch up with you guys in the morning. It's 7:45 on Friday and I'm just about to leave for my content shoot, but I thought before I do leave I could show you guys what's in my bag as a content creator. I thought that'd be quite fun while I'm packing up and getting ready to leave. So it's still a little bit dark outside, but I'm just in my office now. Let me just put you down here so I can show you what I actually take with me on content shoots. So first and foremost, we have chargers, phone and laptop, because I got caught out on one of my first ever content shoots as a freelancer without my phone charger, and I film most of my content on my iPhone. And it was just a horrible feeling to be like, oh my god, my phone's gonna run out of battery on this shoot. Luckily someone there had one, but I will never make that mistake again. So best believe I'm always traveling with my chargers. To that same sentiment, I always carry a power bank as well with extra charge and a lead too. I carry that around regardless wherever I go, but this is just really handy if you don't have a source of power. Like if you're out and about filming, then this is really helpful to have like backup, because I end up charging my phone probably 2 to 3 times in a content shoot. Honestly, it's that much battery that I use. So that always goes with me. Then I always take my laptop with me to shoots in case we need to edit anything on the go, and also just in the little breaks, or if I have 5 minutes while I'm waiting for my phone to charge, I can be productive and like get back to people on emails. I just don't like going anywhere without my laptop. It just makes me feel uneasy. So that comes with me. Then onto the actual camera equipment. So I've got my trusty ring light here, which your phone straps in and you can hold it like this and film really steady content. So I use it more for the steadiness than the actual light, but it does have a function too where you can turn this light on and you can change the dimness, and then also you can change it from cool light to warm. That's the cool, that's like the middle, and then that's the warm. And it's really good as well for like close-ups of food. So if you're in like dark settings like pubs or restaurants that have cozy corners and you want to get a close-up of the food but you don't have like a full lighting equipment, you can use this to like get really close and it illuminates the subject. So yeah, that always comes with me, and I probably use that like 90% of the time. But again, as I said, more for the steadiness of movement than the actual ring light. Then we've got the tripod, which I would actually like to invest in a new tripod. This one I've had for quite a few years now and it's great, it does the job, but I know you can get better ones with slightly more smoother movements, and I feel like the settings on this particular one are a little bit clunky. Like when you tilt the camera, it kind of goes from like a 90-degree angle to like the next angle along to the next angle along. There's no like in the middle. Sometimes you want to be like in between the two settings, but yeah, I mean, I can't complain. This thing has literally like been with me since day one. So we've got the tripod here, so that goes in my bag. Then I've got a smaller tripod, which is this one here. So it's like a little desk tripod. Your phone slots in here and you can change it from portrait to landscape. The legs do go a little bit longer than this, but I tend to just keep it on this setting. So this one's really good for if you're setting up a shot at a table and you don't want a big clunky tripod in the way and you just kind of want to like get really close to something. And this one kind of like, it goes a bit smaller, so you can just fit it into smaller spaces. Really, really handy to have. It's also quite good if you want to hold it as like a bit of an extender. So you don't want to be using the ring light and you want to get like a little bit more angle on filming. So this is actually quite good for filming and vlogging as well. If I'm doing anything on my phone, then I can kind of like hold it out and it just gives me that extra length that my arm doesn't have. Next up, we've got the newest addition to my kit, which is this extension cable. So this one is actually 10 meters long, and I actually bought this because of the client that I'm going to visit today. So their pub doesn't have a huge amount of plug sockets in places where I might need them because it's a beautiful old 18th century building. So I bought this because last time I kind of had to ask them if I could borrow an extension cable, and we kind of had to like take like 10 minutes out just to look for one, and it was kind of having to unplug some lights to be able to use it, and I thought that's not ideal. So I invested in this after that incident, and it's going to be handy. I'm just going to keep it in my car, and it's great for older buildings or places where you've only got one source of power but you need to have your lighting set up in a different area. So I would definitely recommend that for any content creators thinking about doing shoots in older buildings. Then we've got my trusty Rode wireless microphones. So they come in this little pouch, and this is what the mic looks like. And then there's also inside another little box, which is the adapter. So that plugs into your phone, and that means that anything coming through the mic is going to your phone instead of using your iPhone's normal microphone. You can also use these with other products like cameras too. So this is really great for if you're doing any filming where you need voiceover, or if you're doing any filming like interviewing people. So if you're doing any like vox pop kind of style interviews with your clients, or doing like a Q&A with the team. So I always take them with me. We don't actually have anything like that planned today, but I just take them with me anyway because they're super handy. Also, they're really good for like ASMR stuff. These were not cheap, but I invested in these last summer and no regrets. They're amazing, so I cannot recommend these enough. I will put a link to the product in the description below for anyone that's interested. But yeah, if you're thinking about investing in microphones for content creation, go with the Rode Wireless ME microphones. They're unbelievably good, but they are about like £100. But yeah, as I said, they are a staple in my kit and I wouldn't be without them. And then finally, I'm gonna have to pick you guys up to show you this one. So I also have like a proper lighting setup. So let me just show you here. These are my proper box lights for content shoots. So it depends what I'm shooting really, but these are great for darker spaces where the ring light is great for close-ups, particularly with food. But if you want to light an entire room, then you're really going to have to start getting into proper lighting equipment. So that's why I bought this set here. So yeah, we've got like the stands that hold up the lights. And then in these two boxes here, I'm not going to have time to get them out, but they are basically like giant lamps. Maybe I could get them out. I have time, hang on. I'll show you really quickly just one of them. So they are giant light bulbs like this. And they plug into these here, and then you've got like a light box pop up. What I'll do is I'll show you when I've got them set up today, because it's likely we're going to have to use these today, because again, as I said, the place I'm shooting at is a beautiful inn on Dartmoor, and it's really old-fashioned and cozy corners, but it needs good lighting. So yeah, I invested in those and they have been a game changer. And then it comes with like this little remote control as well, so you can control the lighting, the temperature, and the intensity. Really, really good. Would recommend. If it's helpful for some of the bits that I've bought more recently, I can link everything in the description below, because I know when I watch these kind of things, I'm like, oh, I really want to buy that, and then it's annoying when nothing is linked. The only other thing that I take with me on my shoots is the thing I'm filming on right now, which is my DJI Osmo Pocket Pro. I think that's what it's called. I am obviously filming on that right now, so I can't show you it, but it comes in this little case here. That has been really great as well for my vlogging particularly, but I do tend to do most of my content creation for my social media clients on my iPhone 15 Pro. The content I'm creating is for social media consumption, and I personally think that iPhone content is ample for that particular medium. iPhone Pros are great, and I have the 15 Pro, so I know we're now on the 17, but honestly, I have had friends and family that have gone and upgraded, and I've kind of had a look at their camera settings, and honestly, I don't personally think that there's enough reason to upgrade when I know this camera like the back of my hand. This is like an extension of me at this point, and I honestly think once you've got anything from like the 13 Pro upwards, you have got an amazing bit of camera kit in your pocket, in your back pocket. And I think it's more about the settings and the composition and what you do with lighting as well, outside of just like what phone you have. So that's what I'm filming on today. I am gonna have to leave now because it is nearly 8 o'clock, so I need to get on the road. The client that I'm heading to is in Dartmoor, which is about an hour from here, and I'm not gonna need to be there until 9:30, but basically I want to stop at a coffee shop and pick up a coffee to get a bit of a caffeine kick, because I'm feeling a bit tired today. It's Friday, it's been a long week, but I actually quite like having a content shoot on a Friday because I feel like it's an amazing way to end the week. It's my favourite type of work. I love getting out and filming and creating. That is definitely my favourite part of my job. And also it's quite nice on a Friday when you come home from a shoot and you're like, drop your bags on the floor and you're like, now it's the weekend, like I've clocked off. So yeah, I'm gonna head out now and grab a coffee, and then I will try and bring you guys along for what is gonna be a really, really fun foodie content shoot. The most important part of my content kit, the morning coffee. Hey guys, I am just home from the content shoot. It was such a long day, but we got so much great content and I had a lot of fun as well. I am very grateful that it's the weekend, and I have a really, really busy week next week with a little trip planned as well. So I will be sure to vlog that next week, but for now I think I'm going to sign the vlog off here. So if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and if you've enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I really, really hope that I will see you in my next one. Bye guys!